news breaks, when things change, there's one network you can count on. One voice, Sun News Network. No spin, no talking points, the news as it was meant to be.
Italy's Prime Minister Mario Monti is calling for a united response to the Eurozone debt crisis. Monti made the comment as he announced plans to get Italy out of recession. The plans include boosting competition and liberalizing the Italian job market. Joining me now in studio is Queen's University doctoral candidate and European Union expert, Philip Giurlando. Phil, good to have you with us.
Hi, Karen. Good to be here.
Okay, so during this press conference, he laid out some of his priorities, Mario Monti. Are they in check, do you think?
Are they, in what sense are they in check?
Does he have his priorities straight?
Yes, because he has to liberalize the labor market. Italy is afflicted with a bifurcated labor market. That is, it excludes marginalized people, especially youth and women. And this is one of the things that has prevented growth in the past 10 years. So he has to liberalize the labor market. He also has to liberalize professions. Italy, unfortunately, has a very corporatist market that allows professionals to exclude outsiders. He has to open these up. Now, the problem is that the parties in parliament, he will depend on their support. Many of them are opposed to these reforms. And so it's this is what the country needs. But these groups are politically powerful. And so it's not clear that he'll be able to do it. But he has to do it because if Italy does not start growing, investors will lose confidence in its ability to pay back its debt, and it could default.
Okay, speaking of markets, there have been two recent successful Italian bond auctions.
Yeah.
Does this spell optimism?
Not really, because the bonds were short-term bonds. The 10-year bonds are still above 7%, which is dangerously high. Italy has to refinance 100 billion euros worth of debt in the first 3 months of 2012 and 450 billion euros worth of debt in all 2012. Any of those bond auctions can go bad, and if they go bad, there can be a chain reaction that could be devastating. The European officials will try to stop contagion. They do have tools to stop contagion. The IMF, they've given more resources to the IMF, and the European Stability Mechanism. And so the future bond auctions continue to pose a threat, especially because European banks, especially French banks, hold a lot of Italian debt. If one of those bond auctions goes bad, the value of these bonds will go down, and there could be a run on the banks, especially France. France holds about 400 billion euros worth of Italian debt. So, yeah.
Okay, some of what he talked about today, Mario Monti, is the problems linked to a greater issue across Europe. You know, he says that it's wider difficulties on the European level are to blame. Fair enough, but I mean, realistically, hey, Italy bears a great deal of the responsibility.
No, Italy has most of the responsibility. It's very easy to look towards Europe. In fact, many of the political parties are doing precisely that, because people think that there's just some panacea, such as giving the ECB the right to be a lender of last resort, establishing euro bonds. These would help, but they wouldn't solve the fundamental problem, which is Italy's incapacity to grow. It hasn't grown in the past 10 years. If Italy were to start growing 2%, the crisis would be solved. It would be finished, because investors would be confident that Italy can pay back its debts, the interest rates would go down, and everybody would live happily ever after. But it's unable to grow, and the cause is Italy, it's not Europe.
It's wishful thinking. All right, Phil Giurlando, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.